Hello and welcome back to Booch Ball. I'm Alex, joined as always by my lovely co-host Freed. How you doing over there, Freed?
Hanging tough, man. Hanging tough. How you doing?
I'm doing well. When you say hanging tough, what does hanging tough mean?
It means I'm hanging in there and I'm being strong. I'm being tough.
Nice.
Not crying anymore.
Because you can either be hanging in there,
Yeah.
you can be hanging tough, you can be hanging loose.
You could be hanging 10.
You can be hanging. I don't know if you can be hanging 10 unless you're specifically surfing.
Yeah. Depends on how chill you are.
I'm pretty chill, dude.
Yeah, you're pretty chill.
Don't surfers, when they say hanging 10, they do the thing. They have the thumb and then the pinky and the rest of the fingers brought in. They're really only hanging 2. Or do they do both? It's kind of like telephone hands, and they go hanging 10.
I think they're hanging 5.
They're hanging somewhere in between 2 and 5. And for you, your lucky number's 5, so it makes sense. I feel like maybe that could be your new thing. Like, I'm hanging 5.
Hanging
But then
50.
it makes it seem like you're hanging 5. And I don't want to say inches, but that could be what people take from it. Anyways, welcome to Booch Ball, the only podcast on the internet talking kombucha and college sports. Miami loses to North Carolina. In North Carolina, people were throwing the U down left and right. But it's all right, Freed. I wish I could say it's what I predicted because I was tempering my expectations, but it's not. It's what I felt was going to happen, and it did happen. But, so be it. We lost to a good team. That'll happen sometimes.
Yeah, the jury's still out on how good UNC really is. I'm not sold, but like you said, it happens. At this point in the year, if you told me we were going to be 4-2 at the beginning, that's kind of expected. I think everyone's expectations got raised to an unfairly high level after the Texas A&M win. And we're kind of back where we belong. And another test coming up this week against Clemson at home.
That's true. Yeah, and I wonder when the last time there was a game between Clemson and Miami where both teams were unranked.
Well, you'd have to think about it more from Clemson's side because Miami hasn't been ranked all that much over the last few years. But
I know, but I want to say like the last time that Clemson was unranked, maybe Miami was.
Maybe.
I feel like it was back in like the CJ Spiller days of Clemson.
Yeah, I would have said early 2010s probably. But we also didn't play them very much. We played them once every 7 years or so. So we may not have played them. It may have been like a 2008 or 2009, and who knows if there was a ranked team involved.
Yeah, so it's been a minute is what we're saying.
It's a good question.
It's been a minute.
Should have saved that for later.
It's a good question. We don't do a whole lot of research here on Booch Ball. But, it is what it is. We had there was an interesting college football slate last week. We had some, we had the battle of Penix and Bonix, and Penix emerged victorious as we knew that they would. We got some new top dogs there with the Washington Huskies. We got the Sam Hartman boned the Trojans. And Louisville lost to Pittsburgh. So, that's fun. And then, that's kind of.
I just want to point out that 2 weeks ago when I said I think Louisville is going to beat Notre Dame straight up, I specified, or should I say, I prefaced that by saying I don't think Louisville is good, but I do think they're in this game.
Wow.
So locked in right there. But I'm going to toot your horn a little bit. You're up to 13-5 on the year in picking. So those of you who like sports betting, Alex is going to return to the mean here pretty soon. So I would stay
Wait a second. Well, I thought you were tooting my horn.
Oh,
My dad reached out to me and was like, my friend from college wants to bet $400 that UNC will beat Miami by more than 14 points. And I was like, Dad, you don't even have to do that. You guys got it. It's only 2.5. So you're well in the money. And he's like, well, how do I do it? And I was like, DraftKings or FanDuel. And he was like, I don't trust them with my bank account information. What do you think about that? What do you think about not trusting gambling sites with your bank account information?
I mean, it's no different than any other internet platform. I'm sure theoretically there could be a hack, but
The whole country's going down. The economy's gonna go crashing down if those accounts get hacked.
That's true. Is it illegal in his state? I mean, that's the biggest question.
Connecticut? We
Yeah,
have casinos in Connecticut. I'm not exactly sure what the deal is in
but
Connecticut.
it's about the sports betting. It's probably legal in Connecticut.
Anyways, they could have won big time by betting against Miami, but they were too afraid to do it. And you know what? So be it. That's what happens. It's college football. Whatever, Freed. We're moving on. That was week 7. It's on to week 8. And it's now on to the first segment of Booch Ball, Freed, which is obviously, of course, as we all know, and I need to go quickly run and get it from my fridge, but it is what we're drinking.
What we're drinking. Well, Alex is in the fridge. I'll kick us off here as I unsheath from my Bucky's koozie. This glorious, thin, Rowdy Mermaid Savory Peach. We're going with the Savory Peach this week, Alex, because Clemson's coming to town, a nice orange team in Peach Country. Not Georgia, but pretty damn close.
Yes, pretty peach adjacent. So we're drinking the Rowdy Mermaid, which is one of these kombuchas that you can find at Whole Foods. We've done like a handful of these, and so savory peach. So my first thought of a peach is not savory at all, really.
Well, it says on there peach thyme or peach time. How do you say that word?
Time.
Peach time. It's peach time, baby. Let's go.
It's peach time, baby. It's peach time. That's what they should have called it. If they were a little bit more fun, they would have called it peach time. But I guess savory peach. This is designed for immunity. Did you know that?
I did not.
That's what the Rowdy Mermaid says, that they're designed for immunity. And you remember how I think these guys are from, what is it? They're from like Colorado or something.
Colorado, yeah. These are Boulder boys.
Right. So as is tradition, I have to read the explanation of the flavor in my Colorado accent.
Colorado cowboy accent.
It's really just a cowboy thing. By the way, I found out today on the Lebitard show from Ron McGill, the animal expert, the guy who's like the poster boy of Zoo Miami, that the Colorado Buffaloes, it's actually it's Jake Hennessy in the comments. Jake's doing a new bit where he's like doing an Aaron Rodgers thing where he's like anti-vax for some reason. I'm not sure why, but shout out to Jake on the live stream for spreading misinformation. Okay, so there aren't buffalo in the United States. Buffalo are Asian. It's bison. So the Colorado Buffaloes is a misnomer. They're actually the Colorado Bison.
Put it up there with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Are there not Maple Leafs there?
Maple Leaves.
Oh,
grammatically incorrect.
Make like a tree and leaf. All right, Rowdy Mermaid Savory Peach. Ready for this, Freed? Here we go. Everybody knows what time is all about, right? It's in our spice racks and in the chorus of that famous folk song. What's that famous folk song? Is it the one that's like parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme?
You sure it's not Time by Hootie and the Blowfish?
No, wait, because I only know that one from, I'm pretty sure it's Peter Gabriel. It's Scarborough Fair. Are you going to No, it's Simon and Garfunkel is what I meant to say. I meant to say Paul Simon. You know that song? It's like, are you going to Scarborough Fair?
I've heard you sing. I've heard you sing it on Booch Ball before. I'm more familiar with Dylan Gabriel on this show, but
the Oklahoma transfer. Oh my God! Wait, it's Oklahoma versus UCF. By the way, the Dylan Gabriel. Oh my God! It's a revenge game for UCF. Okay, wait. Let me get through this here. So that famous folk song, which is like kind of a weird thing. By the way, can we get Jake off of the chat? Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, sure.
No, he does say put on some Youth XL. So Jake, we'll check you in the chat. We still have access to the chat. It just doesn't need to be in my in the audience's line of sight.
Stay out of my personal space. I'll bring you back, Jake, in a few minutes. Don't worry, Alex.
The famous folk song. Okay, but you may not know it's also an herb with properties that are known to boost immunity. So while you might think we added it in our savory peach TM brew just for its flavor, it's also been invited for its function, because flavor designed for function is just peachy. They kind of
Well done.
they kind of lost the ruggedness with that. It's very much more of this is more of a hippie thing. So I'm gonna do a hippie read of it. So like everybody knows what like time is all about, right, man? Like it's in our spice racks and in the chorus of that famous folk song and like in that Simon and Garfunkel song. But like what you may not know is it's an herb, dude. You know what I mean, bro? It's an herb with properties that are like known to boost immunity, bro. So like while you think we may have added it into our savory peach brew just for its flavor, it's also been invited for its function, because flavor designed for function is just peachy, bro.
I like that version better. Yeah,
Yeah, that's better.
Good
For
work.
sure.
Good work.
All right, it's peach time.
It's been peach time over on my side of the screen.
Ugh. Pop this sucker open. This has been sitting in my fridge for a minute. Wait, Freed, before we get into this, I'm curious as to what's our top ranked Rowdy Mermaid kombucha. I don't think that they've had a super successful career on. I think I'm seeing number 23 out of 48.
Yeah, so we've only done 2, and they're actually rated pretty tightly, right on the 7 line for both of them.
Yeah.
The Rowdy
The
Belly
watermelon.
and the Watermelon Bloom.
For
Yeah.
sure. I feel like the Watermelon Bloom didn't the Watermelon Bloom end up making it into the playoffs?
I think it snuck in. Yeah.
That was the season 2
Tough
off
season.
season, maybe?
Yeah, tough season.
All right.
Well-
I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of like peach flavored things generally.
I will say though that this is entirely a different class from the GT's Peach Paradise, which is insanely sweet. This is way more on the dry side, way more on the chill side, mellow peach vibes.
Yeah, we're dry guys.
I honestly wouldn't even pick up on the peach if they didn't tell me this was a peach. I wouldn't know what it was.
I think I would give it peach. Yeah, that's the thing. That's a recurring theme with Rowdy Mermaid. Not super flavor in your face, kind of like an extremely sippable beer, extremely sippable booch.
I don't even think they had fruit juice. I think that's kind of what it is. This says thyme peach flavor wanf.
What?
Peach powder and live cultures.
What
I don't
the
know
hell
what
is-
either of those things are.
Can we look up a womf?
Womf. Jake Hennessy, can you look up a womf for us? Let's put him to work.
The nation.
Get him back up
Yeah,
here.
the nation of origin,
need some
please.
womf. But you know, we started.
Oh wait, I know. I found it, Fried. WOMF is actually an acronym standing for "with other natural flavors." Are you shitting me, Rowdy Mermaid? You're gonna give us WOMF as if we all know what it means? Wait, WOMF flavors can be a method of obtaining the best value in natural flavors? Nah, I don't think. I feel like that's an ad campaign on something.
No, that makes sense. It's almost like a cheaper version of the flavoring compound. Maybe.
I don't know.
So
mixed fruit juice concentrates, WOMF. Juice concentrate WOMFs are blends of various juice concentrates with other natural flavors.
And remember, here's the kicker for natural flavors. That does not necessarily mean they're extracting it from a peach. A natural flavor is any sort of flavoring that comes from a living organism. So they can harvest certain chemicals from a random ass protist that just happens to taste or smell like peach, and that is a natural flavor. So, Rowdy Mermaid, the hippie
I'm gonna
vibe,
protest this protest.
Well, I'm not saying that's necessarily what it is, but it could be. So, I don't know.
I'm gonna foment a protest.
I don't love that out of Rowdy Mermaid, but maybe they have a. I'd like to hear their side of the story before we tarnish their.
But we
their
won't
Rowdy
hear
Mermaid.
it today, Freed. So that's gonna do it for the drinking segment here. on Booch Ball. I have to say it's not bad. It's pretty good, in fact.
It's not bad. It's pretty neutral. I think that's why the other two have ended up right on the 7s.
Freed, you have a new microphone today, and this is I'm saying that this is probably why we shouldn't have it attached to your chair, because it's very very unsteady. It's kind of phallic, like the way it's pointing out that way and kind of wobbling,
You
flapping
just got
around in front of your face.
Penix on your mind, but my desk here in my home office is very thick. I like a good thick desk, and
Oh yeah,
my arm contraption could not grasp it. It couldn't firmly grasp the desk. I had to put it on the chair.
your third arm.
My third leg, no.
Hey, for sure. All right, folks. Well, that's what we're drinking today. It's peach time here on Booch Ball, the Rowdy Mermaid Savory Peach. And thinking about peaches and geographical locations that are nearby peachy states, I don't know.
South Carolina, Western South Carolina is firmly in peach country.
In peach
I'm
country?
pretty
All right.
confident in that.
Well, Freed, clearly you're the geography buff around here. And that's why for our next segment, it's time for us to dust off the volume here. We're bringing back a segment. It's time for us to tell you all what we're thinking.
What we're thinking, and today we are thinking about geography and college football. So we're going to go back to a fan favorite from Booch Ball, geography.
Freed. Geography.
All right, Alex, I got a good one for you today. I think you're going to like this one. I feel like this could almost be a podcast in and of itself. Here we go.
You think I'm going to like this one, huh? Okay.
I think you're going to like it. I think the fans are going to like it. All the Boochies are going to want more of this topic.
Okay.
So when we talk about colleges, you got the the universities, you got your states, you got your techs, you got your A&Ms. My question for you is, how many states have FBS football programs from both the flagship university, the U, and the state university? So I'm not talking about Boise State.
You're saying D1.
FBS, yeah. What you would generally consider D1, FBS.
Sure.
App State. I'm not talking about App State. I'm not talking about Boise State. I'm talking about.
That's to say the name.
That's right.
How many?
How many? And if you want to talk about them, we can talk about them. And I got some follow-up questions here too.
Well, geez, I think there's not going to be a lot of New England, where I'm from, so I think we can rule that out. I mean, we got there's not really a Connecticut state. There's like do you count like Central Connecticut State? Like
No,
in that?
I don't.
It has to be like the name and then the state.
That's right. They're not FBS.
So like Texas A&M wouldn't count by this, but Texas State and Texas would be the only two that would really matter.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. Well, shit, it's going to be, I mean, it's like, how many states are there? It's like pretty much a lot of the ones in the SEC. You got Florida. You've got North Carolina. You've got Georgia and Georgia State. I would like Louisiana. You've got that because you've got Louisiana State University, LSU. Then you've got, I don't think Alabama counts. I don't think there's an FBS Alabama State. So I'm going to take that out. I don't think that there's a Tennessee State. Don't think there's a Kentucky State. There's for sure Ohio and Ohio State. There's Michigan State. Like this could take a long time is what I'm saying. But there's not a California State. They're all kind of state universities. Like, am I thinking about this right?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Okay. So let's see. There's a bunch of like fucking North Dakota State and things like that, but those aren't FBS teams. How many schools are there with that? I don't know, Freed. How about this? Can you give me like an over-under? Can you set an over-under and I'll tell you less or more?
Over-under, how about let's start with 20?
Ooh, that's about, I was going to guess like 20. Let's see. Oregon State, Washington State, Arizona. I'm basically just naming all the teams that have states. I'm gonna set it slightly. I'm gonna set it higher. I'm gonna say it's probably like in that 20 to 24 range.
It is lower,
Ooh.
but only slightly.
Okay. What's that?
Your next over under, how about 17?
Just tell me what it is. I'm gonna try and name them all.
All right, it is 18 by my count. By my
18.
count.
Okay, ready? I'm gonna try to do it as fast as possible. All right. Wait, I'm gonna look. Can I look at a map of this U.S.?
Sure.
Okay. All right, I'm looking at a map with states. Okay, here we go. Ready, Freed? Count them up. It's gonna be Washington, Oregon. It's gonna be Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Texas. No, not Texas. Oklahoma, Kansas. South Dakota is interesting. I'm not so sure about that. Iowa, Louisiana, Michigan, Ohio, Louisiana. Did I say that already?
Yes.
All right. Arkansas, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania,
Nope.
Penn State, and Penn. Penn's
is
not
Penn is not an FBS football
No,
program.
Fair.
That was actually one of my follow-up trivia questions. What state is the only one that has a state in FBS but not a flagship?
Interesting. All right, so I think I'm at 17 right now. Is it what did I miss? Does Montana in there?
Not FBS.
Okay.
So there is a Texas state in FBS, so Texas counts.
Really?
Yeah.
What's their mascot?
The Bobcats.
And, that's right. They've been kind of around lately. I feel like Texas State.
Yeah, I think they're Sun
Didn't
Belt.
they beat Baylor?
I don't know.
Texas State beat Baylor. That was one of the first games of the season. It was a big upset.
Okay.
That's right. I remember that. Okay. So that's one.
Did I may have gotten all of them. Or you're very close to having all of them. You want me to go through my list real quick?
Sure, go for it.
All right, we got New Mexico, Kansas, Florida, Oklahoma.
Kansas. Arkansas. I missed Kansas. That's what it was.
2 Power Fives. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Georgia, Mississippi, Arizona, Iowa, Texas, Washington, Utah, Ohio, Oregon, Colorado, Michigan, North Carolina, Louisiana. And I actually, when I was initially making this list, I left off Louisiana because on the website I was using for reference, it wrote out LSU as LSU and not Louisiana State. It really screwed me up in my Control F search.
That was one of the first ones I thought of, only because I thought it would trick people, because people only think of LSU. LSU is one of the ones that really thinks of it as wait a second. Oh no, never mind. Jake's in the chat. Okay, all right, Freed.
So I got a couple follow-ups for you because, I'd love to spend hours talking about the history of all these schools. We all know Florida State started as a women's college. If you don't, now you do. But
there's anything wrong with that.
I think 2 things that are kind of interesting about this. For one is there's really only 2 of these programs where the dominant football force is the state and not the U. And that's LSU, right? And that's Ohio State.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is when I was doing this, I found that of these 18 schools, there's only one that isn't the university of blank. It's blank university. Do you know which one that is?
Say that one more time. This is when it's just the state. It's not state, but it's
no. So for one of these flagship schools, most of them are the University of Florida. There is one that would be Florida University, but obviously not Florida, a different state.
The state of Miami?
No. Actual state.
I don't know.
It's Ohio. Ohio
University. Oh, yeah, that's right. Also the Bobcats.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very catty. You ready for another follow-up question here?
Sure.
Which one of these pairs of flagship and state schools is the closest together? Mileage by the by the crow flies. So just not driving directions, just pure mileage, one to the next. And which one's the farthest?
Let's see. Which one's the closest? I don't know. Fucking shit. Michigan and Michigan State.
Michigan and so those two are actually the fifth closest together at 49 miles apart by my count.
Okay. Jake says Ohio. Is that right?
I think he's lagging behind a little bit.
Oh. I don't know. Florida State and Gainesville are pretty close. I don't know. What's the answer, Freed? Blow my mind.
So Florida and Florida State are actually in the bottom five. For the record, the closest, which actually was really surprising to me, North Carolina and NC State, only 22 miles apart. I didn't realize.
Tobacco Road, Freed.
Yeah, did not realize that. The second closest pair, Texas and Texas State. That was going to be my guess. San Marcos, Texas, is actually like a suburb of Austin.
What's it called?
Very close to New Braunfels, home of the Unicorns.
Where's Texas State located?
San Marcos.
San Marcos.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, every Christmas.
You know that means Saint Marcus?
No. San. It's Texas. It's basically Mexico.
Yeah, but it means San means saint in Spanish.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I was saying. I was saying that. Did you
Frog
know
protection?
Stan
Yes, Saint Marcus. Saint Mark.
Right. Yeah, good old St. Mark's.
Every year for Christmas, Kayla's family goes to First Baptist Church in New Braunfels, and then we take the drive up the road to Outback Steakhouse in San Marcos. Christmas tradition like no other.
Yeah,
onions all around.
Sure. Amazing. You know, that's where I went with when I was with David Pearl Schwartz and Allison. When we went to the Miami Virginia Tech game in Blacksburg, we couldn't find a hotel in Blacksburg because, as you can imagine, there aren't a whole lot of hotels in Blacksburg.
Those college towns will fill up on game days.
We stayed in Christiansburg, and the most poppin' spot in town on the Friday eve before the Miami Virginia Tech homecoming game was Outback Steakhouse.
I bet.
Yeah, you know, number one. Number two was probably the Cracker Barrel out next to our motel.
Oh yeah, hell yeah! Out in coal country out there, they love their burgs. They love their burros. It's like they didn't want to invent their own names. They were just like, oh, who was the first person here? Christiansburg.
Yeah, there's no burgs in Connecticut.
No,
or Vermont. I don't think.
It's all England town names.
Yes, it's all very nice, fancy names. And then I think it's the Germans, Germanic.
We're getting away from geography here. We're going into history, McGuire.
Well, Fried, I got one for you to see if I can stump you.
Final note from me. The furthest apart, shocking. Washington State. Pullman is basically in Montana, 250 miles.
Yeah, I was thinking that would either be the closest or the farthest because I was thinking Washington. I was like, they're probably fucking all over the place. All right, Fried. All right. Well, speaking of places that are far away, I think this is going to be an interesting little trivia round for you. So I was looking up college stats and just like fun facts about colleges. So one thing that popped up was that 14 of the 25 largest sports stadiums in the world belong to American football teams, Fried. Now, Fried, can you name the 3 schools that are all in the top 5 of the largest stadiums in the entire world? And if you can't get it, I do have a hint. Let me know if you want the hint.
Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State.
Correct.
A&M.
No. You're very close. A&M's number 6. Think of what the hint I was about to give you relative to the 2 schools you named.
Ohio State.
That's correct. That's correct. So it's Michigan at number
Wow.
3. It's State College, Pennsylvania, number 4, and then Ohio Stadium in Columbus, number 5. But Freed, that means that there are 2 stadiums that are bigger than US stadiums. So these are 2 stadiums that are the biggest in the entire world and beat out college football stadiums here. Can you name the 2 countries where the 2 biggest stadiums are? And I will give you a hint. They're in Asia. So 2 Asian countries. And it's not China or Japan.
Okay. Do I have a sport? Is there a home sport, or is this just like a multi-purpose?
One of them is one sport, and the other one is multi-purpose.
Is the one sport cricket?
Yes.
India.
Correct. That's the number 1 biggest stadium in the world. Narendra Modi Stadium, named after the founder of India, Modi. Definitely, he was a president at one time. Let's look him up. Yeah, Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India. Yes.
Okay.
Still alive, I believe. I think he's still. No, he served until 2014. 2001 to 2014. A good run for him.
Okay.
All right, so that is the number 1 biggest stadium for cricket. 132,000 people capacity is India.
That's large.
Number 2. Now, this one is a very interesting place. I'm not even so sure how they got the data from this place. What do you think it is?
I'm going to go ahead and say Indonesia.
Incorrect, Freed. Incorrect.
Do I get one more guess?
So in this stadium, they have football, athletics, mass games, and I can only imagine they have some speeches from the ruler there.
Oh, North Korea.
That's right, Pyongyang, North Korea.
All right, so
has the second largest.
Can we
with
agree that that's probably
115,000.
not real and that's some propaganda?
I'm curious how that got to Wikipedia. How did they find out? How did they get the actual blueprint for what the capacity is?
I'm skeptical on that, but that's interesting.
They probably include like people like on the field.
Maybe,
That is an
or
interesting
they probably
point.
just submitted. They probably just say it's bigger than it really is.
Submitted where though? To who?
They don't even have that many people there, do they?
Oh, it's for the Olympic Games. That's why. So it's probably decently legit. If it's for the Olympic Games, they probably had somebody go out and survey.
When are they
it and
having the
everything like
Olympic
that.
Games in North Korea?
Not anytime soon, that's for sure,
what I'm
Freed. But I think they had games in the Koreas at one point.
Really?
So who knows how old this stadium is? Let's see. That's called the Rungrado 1st of May Stadium. Opened in 1989, with the first major event being the 13th World Festival of Youth and Students. Sounds fun. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, yeah. So after the 1988 Summer Olympics had been awarded to Seoul, North Korea intensified its efforts to present itself as
so
a legitimate
they wanted
Korean
to get
state.
the Olympics, but they couldn't.
Exactly. Yeah. And they never will unless they pay us a lot of if they grease the right palms. You know how the Olympics work.
I suppose. Speaking of stadiums, one more question for you before we change the topics here. College football stadiums. What's the oldest stadium currently still in use? FBS.
The Rose Bowl?
No.
Like Harvard or Yale or something like that?
FBS.
No. I don't know, Freed. You tell me.
Georgia Tech, according to Wikipedia. 1913.
Bobby Dodd?
Bobby Dodd, 1913.
Ramblin' Wreck? God damn it. I thought we said we'd never speak about them ever again.
Too soon.
Yeah, too soon. All right, folks. Well, that concludes our foray into the geography territory.
The new podcast, Geography, will be will be coming next week. Just wait.
We'll never release ever. Maybe. Who knows? Who's to say? All right, folks. Well, we've told you what we're drinking. The Savory Peach Rowdy Mermaid. It's peach time over here on Booch Ball. War and peach. Yikes.
Juicy.
Anyways, we've told you what we're thinking about geography. It's a very hard word to say. Geography. Um, yeah, we learned a lot about different colleges and different stadiums all over the world. It's now time for the third and final segment of Booch Ball, which is, of course, who we're
Who
picking.
we're picking? Hey, who are we picking this week?
All right, Freed, starting off, speaking of massive stadiums, we've got a doozy for you here, a matchup of two teams that with pretty major playoff implications. We have number 7 Penn State traveling to the Ohio State University, to the number 4 or 5, the 5th largest stadium in the entire world. Ohio Stadium taking on Ohio State, the Ohio State
Is
University,
that the
favored by
horseshoe? Is
4
that what they
points.
call it up there?
Yeah, the horseshoe, exactly. Ohio State favored by 4. Who you got, Freed?
I am going to go with Ohio State. I feel like Penn State has done everything they've been asked and more. I just think Ohio State's a little too much, too proven, taking them to cover at home.
Prove us wrong, James Franklin. I'm right there with you, Freed. I got the Buckeyes in this one.
All right, how about we go back to the ACC, familiar territory? We got Duke at Florida State. The big question here is, will Riley Leonard play? And if he does, how effective will he be? Florida State favored by 14 points. What you thinking here?
You know what, Freed? I think Florida State has, they've got a loss in them this year, and Duke being what they did, they kicked Clemson's ass at the start of the year. They had a tough one against Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's proven themselves to be one of the top teams in the country. I don't think Florida State has 14-point victory in them on this one. I got the Blue Devils here, Freed.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think Vegas is assuming no Riley Leonard, or at least an ineffective Riley Leonard. He's obviously at his best when he can run around and create havoc. But even so, I think 14 points is too much, even with a backup QB. Mike Elko and that defense going to keep it tight. I do think Florida State will win, though.
What happened to Riley Leonard, by the way?
Right at the end of their game against Notre Dame, he got rolled up on the last play of the game or something when they almost beat Notre Dame at home. It was an ankle sprain. It looked really bad, but apparently he went through warmups last week and it was a game time decision not to play. So I think he's going to play. It's just going to be, how good is he?
Okay. Well, they did need him against NC State. Beat him out.
Yeah, but NC State
24-3.
NC State, 22 miles from Chapel Hill. They're 22 miles away.
22 points away too, pretty much. 21. All right, fair enough. I've got the Blue Devils in that one. All right, moving on to what's left of the pack. The Pacific, however, the Pac-2. They still got a couple more teams as of this year. We've got the Utah Utes traveling to a reeling USC, recovering from a big loss to Notre Dame last week. USC still favored by 6.5 points. Who do you got in this one, Freed?
So kind of similar here. Utah still without Cam Rising. He hasn't played all season. It doesn't look like he's going to play. I think they already said he's out. Based on that alone, I'm going to go with USC to bounce back, win by more than a touchdown.
All right, Freed. I'm going to say not so fast, Freed. I don't know if I love Utah in general as a state, but they haven't really played too many teams this year, but I'm still, the first game I saw all college football season was Utah just really taking it to Florida, which, isn't all that impressive, I guess, now with Florida. But I guess Florida's 5-2, whatever. Screw it. I got the Utes in this one, baby. Let's go. Utah Utes. And this is going to cement our boy Penix as the true Heisman front runner here, as Utah comes into town and at least makes it a close one against USC.
Dude, since we did geography today, I have to tell you about something that has been bothering me ever since 11th grade. There was an extra credit question on my AP US history test one time, and the question was, what state is named after Native Americans? I spent so long thinking about it. I finished my test in like 20 minutes, spent the next half hour thinking about this question. And when you just said the Utah Utes, I realized right there, Utah is named after Native Americans.
Sure.
Dakota, also
There's lots of
named after
states
Native
named after
Americans.
Native American things,
Tribe,
at the
right?
very least.
He told me that the official correct answer for the test was Indiana. I was like,
Indian.
that's so stupid. That's so
Yeah,
stupid.
I don't like that. That's like a kind of racist, I feel like.
I don't like it.
Classic Florida guy.
I'm upset that I didn't get credit for that answer. I think I put Oklahoma, but that's probably wrong. But Utah and
I don't
Dakota
know.
should have flown. That's 3 states right there.
All right. So what are you getting to here, Freed?
Nothing. I'm getting to the sediment pick. And before we make our sediment pick, it's time to finish off the sediment of our Rowdy Mermaid Savory Peach. Peach time, baby. I dribbled a little on my neck.
I can just taste the warmth.
That's maybe why it doesn't feel so peachy. It's more just fruity than it is peachy to me. I'm going to move out to the country. I'm going to eat a lot of peaches.
Hell yeah,
Moving
brother.
to the country, going to eat me a lot of peaches. Sediment pick, Alex. Let's get on with it. We actually got a really good game in the MAC. Speaking of geography, the Mid-American Conference.
Oh, yeah, baby.
This is a possible MAC title game preview. It's Toledo favored by 2 points at Miami of Ohio. What are you thinking?
Freed, I don't know anything about either of these teams, but give me the real Miami, baby, to cover. Nobody goes into Oxford, Ohio and covers as far as I'm concerned, Freed. I got the Red Hawks, baby. Let's go.
I will also be picking Miami in hopes that at least one Miami can come out victorious this weekend. But, there's only one OG Miami that we care about on this show. It's those Miami Hurricanes, Coral Gables, Miami Gardens, wherever we want to call ourselves. Clemson's coming to town. Clemson's favored by 3.5. You got a score prediction here, Alex?
I sure do, Freed. It's the time for tempering expectations has fully come and is now upon us. I would love for Miami to win this game. I think Miami actually has a great opportunity for a season-defining win to really just get this thing back on track against a Clemson team that is not the Clemson of old. But if Miami can pull off the win against Clemson and then go into a 2-game stretch against Virginia and NC State, boy, Freed, we could get our 9-3 hopes rekindled. But that's not what I'm doing here on Booch Ball, Freed, because I have Clemson winning 30-24.
Okay. I also have Clemson winning. I got 31-21. So I out-tempered you. And whenever I out-temper you, we win. So that can only lead to good things.
Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, Freed. All right, baby. Sounds good. Well, let the best orange team win here on this amazing Peach Time episode of Booch Ball. Freed, we've gotten to the dregs of the Rowdy Mermaid Savory Peach. It's Peach Time. What would you give the Rowdy Mermaid as a final score here from 0 to 10? 10, best thing ever. You got a 5, would drink it. 4, man, not good, disgusting. Where are we feeling with this?
Yeah, it's definitely in the would drink it, would buy it range. I'm not going to necessarily recommend this unless you're someone that kind of just wants probiotics without the Boochy flavor, because it really doesn't have any of that vinegary flavor. It's not overly sweet. Those are pretty good qualities in a beverage, honestly, so it's not bad. I just can't recommend this as a kombucha. Too much womp. But I definitely would drink it. I'd probably even buy it. So I'm going to go 6.1.
Free. That's exactly my score, baby.
Dude, honestly, look at every single episode this season. We've been within about 0.2 of each other every single time. We are locked in on the Booch scores.
Our cycles are sinking, Freed. It's incredible.
So official. No ETF5 bot needed. It's a 6.1 for the Rowdy Mermaid. I haven't updated the Boocha Big Board in a long time, but we'll get to it one of these days.
That's going to fall in the 30s range. Not a bad. I feel like this is pretty familiar territory for the Rowdy Mermaid. Nothing that jumps off the page, but a solid Booch if you're just looking for something light and, refreshing.
Go to the watermelon. If you want to go Rowdy Mermaid, go watermelon or go Rowdy Belly.
it's a step up from a seltzer. Really, is like a it's kind of like a spin drift, but like less like spin drifts are more flavorful than a Rowdy Mermaid.
Yeah.
But pretty good, Freed. And Freed, I've got a pepperoni pizza ready for me to eat right now in the oven that has just been cooling for the past 15 minutes. So I got to hop over there and get a couple pieces of that before I turn in this evening. But Boochies, we love you. Thank you for joining us. We got Miami Clemson coming up this weekend. Who knows?
Nobody.
Who knows,
Nobody.
Freed? It's anybody's ball game. This is why you play the game. It's any given Booch ball. Thank you. We love you. And as always,
Stay cultured. Peace. And put your Curry Brown into the game this weekend. I want to see him.
Booch. We playing Booch ball.